How power flows through a transmission. Your engine is connected to the input shaft via the clutch splines. It is spinning when the clutch is released. Power flows through here, and you'll note the bearing inside here lets this spin freely from the rest of this shaft here, right? Power is flowing from here down to the counter shaft. Right now we're in neutral. No other gears are engaged. So the input shaft is spinning and the counter shaft is spinning. The gears can spin independently of the output shaft. So power flows through here into the counter shaft. We're still in neutral. Let's engage first gear. And we know it's first gear because it has the biggest output gear. So if we slide our shift collar here backwards, we are now in first gear. Power is flowing from here through the input shaft down to the counter shaft and back up through first gear here. Now first gear is spinning the output shaft because it's locked to the output shaft via the synchro sleeve. So now we're going to grab second. So we're going to disengage first, and we can tell this is second because it has the second largest output gear. Now we're in second. Power is now flowing through the input shaft down to the counter shaft and up to second gear. Now second gear is spinning the output shaft. Let's grab third. And just like first and second, third gear is engaged, and now power is flowing through the input shaft down to the counter shaft up to third gear. Fourth gear technically doesn't have any gear. Fourth gear doesn't exist because fourth gear is what's called direct drive, 1-to-1. So how we engage that is we move our shift collar here forward. Now the input shaft itself is locked to the output shaft. So fourth gear doesn't actually exist. All we're doing in fourth is we're locking the input shaft to the output. You get the point. Now the input shaft is directly spinning the output shaft. Now let's go back to neutral. Fifth gear is the smallest gear and the shift collar is engaged. And now we have overdrive, meaning that the gear on the counter shaft is bigger than the gear on the output shaft. Reverse functions very similarly. We have an idler gear. So if you look down in here, you'll see our reverse gear, which is cut the opposite way. All the other gears on the main shaft have the same angle except the reverse gear. That's how we know it's the reverse gear. You can also see that it does not contact the counter shaft. To make this gear rotate the output shaft in the opposite direction, we need an idler gear. It sits here and it just spins until reverse is engaged. So we slide this shift collar forward to engage reverse. Now the reverse gear is locked to the output shaft. The idler gear changes the direction of rotation from the counter shaft to the main shaft. So now the main shaft is spinning the opposite direction. And then of course we go back into neutral and the idler gear continues to idle. That is a pretty in-depth explanation on how the gears in a 5-speed transmission work. Most are like that. Some have a different internal gear layout that causes power to flow differently than it would in this setup, but the concept remains the same. So now that I've explained that, I'm going to go over how a synchro works. So this is of course our main shaft, and this is where our input shaft rides on that bearing. We have a synchronizer ring, and that goes in between. Now this synchronizer ring also has another name called a cone clutch, and it's called a cone clutch because it rides and operates on this conical surface, this tapered surface. You can see there's a downward angle in relation to the angle of the gear. Now what this allows us to do is use this consumable part to slowly push in. As this is sitting in the transmission, disengaged, it's able to spin freely. When the shift collar extends forward to lock the gear to the main shaft, it presses the synchronizer ring up against the gear, and it uses that tapered surface to slowly grab and slip a little. You can see it can slip a little there. And it's that action right there, that slipping and then the grabbing, it's that action there that helps slow down the gear to the main shaft, allowing for a smooth transition between gear changes. If this synchronizer ring is able to touch the gear, it's no good. You need to have a gap in between there in order for the tapers to work properly. Without it, it won't have any grab and it will just spin When it continues to spin, you don't have that slowing down action, and therefore you don't have that smooth transition between gears. That's what gets you your grind, or a blown synchro. So if we carefully pull our synchronizer ring off, or our shift collar off, we can also see little indentations, little angles on the teeth here. And it's those angles that grab. Right now it can't grab, but it's pushing. And then as it pushes, it slowly transitions and then spins in and locks. And when that slips in, the gear shaft follows suit, and then they're locked together. That's a quick rundown on how synchronizer rings work within the transmission. I hope you enjoyed.